It's easy to overlook a 5-cent coin. It's small, quiet, and usually forgotten at the bottom of a pocket, dropped into a jar, or passed along in everyday change without a second thought. But sometimes, the most ordinary-looking objects carry extraordinary stories. Today, we're going to slow down and take a closer look at one such coin, the 1972 United States 5-cent piece with the D mint mark. At first glance, it looks like just another Jefferson nickel. But as you'll soon discover, this coin represents a fascinating moment in American history, craftsmanship, and modern collecting, and in the right condition, it can be worth far more than its humble face value. To understand the 1972 D nickel, we need to step back into early 1970s America. The country was going through major social, political, and economic changes. The Vietnam War was still ongoing. The space race had recently reached its peak with the moon landing just a few years earlier, and inflation was beginning to make its presence felt in everyday life. Coinage during this period reflected both continuity and change. While designs remained largely the same, the way people viewed money was shifting. Coins were no longer just tools for commerce. They were becoming objects of interest for collectors who paid close attention to details like mint marks, strike quality, and preservation. In 1972, the Denver Mint produced a massive number of nickels, hundreds of millions, in fact. These coins were intended for everyday use, filling the nation's need for small change. Because of this enormous production, most 1972 D nickels entered circulation immediately and experienced heavy wear over the years. They were used in vending machines, handed over at grocery stores, and dropped into parking meters. Very few people at the time thought to save them in pristine condition, and this is where the story starts to change. While circulated examples of the 1972 D nickel are extremely common and usually worth only face value, high-grade examples are a completely different matter. Coins that escaped circulation and were carefully preserved, often in mint sets or by collectors with a keen eye, can be remarkably scarce today, especially those with exceptional strike quality and flawless surfaces. Finding a 1972 D nickel with full steps is no easy task. Many coins from this year show weak or incomplete steps due to die wear or improper striking pressure. Add to that the fact that most coins were circulated, and you start to understand why high-grade examples are so highly prized. A coin with crisp details, original luster, and clean, well-defined steps stands out dramatically from the rest. Imagine holding a 1972 D nickel that looks almost exactly as it did the day it left the Denver Mint. The surfaces are smooth and satiny, the luster dances under the light, and Jefferson's portrait appears sharp and confident. On the reverse, Monticello stands proudly, with every step clearly defined. This is not just spare change, it's a miniature work of art and a tangible connection to American history. Collectors are drawn to coins like this for many reasons. Some are completionists, aiming to build a full set of Jefferson nickels by date and mint mark. Others focus on condition rarity, searching for the finest known examples of common coins. The 1972 D nickel occupies a special place in both approaches. It's common enough that most people have seen one, but rare enough in top condition to create real excitement when a superb example appears on the market. There's also an emotional element at play. Coins like the 1972 D nickel remind us that hidden treasures can still exist in everyday places. They inspire people to check their change, revisit old collections, and learn more about the small details that make a big difference. In a world dominated by digital transactions, holding a beautifully preserved coin from over 50 years ago feels surprisingly meaningful. As time goes on, the supply of high-grade 1972 D nickels is unlikely to increase. Coins don't improve with age, and many have already been lost, damaged, or worn beyond collector standards. This means that the finest surviving examples become even more desirable as the years pass. For collectors who value condition, history, and subtle beauty, this coin represents an excellent example of how modern issues can still offer significant rewards. Now, let's talk about the moment everyone waits for: the value. After understanding the history, the design, the minting process, and the importance of condition, the price begins to make sense. While a typical circulated 1972 D nickel is worth just 5 cents, a high-grade, professionally graded example with exceptional detail, and eye appeal tells a very different story. In today's collector market, one of these standout coins can reach an impressive value of up to $155. Yes, a coin that once bought a piece of candy or a phone call can now be worth $155, all because it survived the decades in near-perfect condition. That's the magic of coin collecting. It's not just about metal and money, it's about history, rarity, and the stories we uncover when we take the time to look a little closer. So the next time you see a Jefferson nickel, especially one dated 1972 with a small D next to the year, remember this story. You might just be holding a tiny piece of American history worth far more than you ever imagined. Imagine holding a small, ordinary-looking coin in your hand. It rests slightly on your palm, barely heavier than a paper clip, the kind of coin most people wouldn't think twice about. It might have jingled in your pocket, been handed to you in change at a gas station, or sat unnoticed in a jar on your dresser. But this particular coin carries a story far bigger than its size. Today, we're diving into the fascinating journey of the 2016 United States 5-cent coin with the D mint mark, a modern nickel that quietly bridges American history, craftsmanship, and collector passion, and one that ends with a value that surprises almost everyone who hears it. Truly appreciate this coin. It helps to step back and understand the role of the 5-cent piece in American life. The U.S. nickel has been part of everyday commerce for more than a century. It's the coin that bought candy for children, paid for parking meters, and filled tip jars across the country. Over the decades, it has evolved in design and composition, reflecting shifts in American culture, politics, and technology. By the time we reach 2016, the nickel is no longer just a tool of commerce. It's also a canvas for history and a target for collectors who know that sometimes the most unassuming coins can carry hidden significance. The year 2016 itself was a moment of transition and tension in the United States. Politically, socially, and culturally, it was a year people would remember. The U.S. Mint, however, continued its steady work, producing millions of coins that would circulate through banks, stores, and pockets. Among them was the 5-cent coin struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small but crucial D mint mark. That single letter, tucked discreetly on the coin, connects it to a facility with a long and proud history of minting American coinage since the early 20th century. The Denver Mint has always been known for its high-quality strikes and massive output. Originally established to process gold and silver from the Rocky Mountains, it evolved into one of the most important coin-producing mints in the nation. When you see a D mint mark, you're looking at a coin born in a place that symbolizes American expansion, industrial growth, and precision manufacturing. In 2016, the Denver Mint struck an enormous number of nickels, yet within that vast production, certain coins stand out for reasons that go far beyond simple mintage numbers. Minting coins is a complex process involving dies, planchets, immense pressure, and precise timing. Even with modern technology, imperfections can slip through. Dies wear down, metal flows unpredictably, and tiny anomalies can result in coins that are slightly different from the norm. Most of these differences are microscopic, but occasionally, they are significant enough to catch the eye of a trained collector. In the case of the 2016 D 5-cent coin, certain high-grade examples and specific striking characteristics have elevated it from everyday change to collector treasure. Collector appeal often hinges on condition. In numismatics, condition is king. A coin that has never circulated, never clinked against other coins, and never suffered the abrasions of daily use can be exponentially more valuable than its worn counterpart. Coins graded at the highest levels, particularly those certified by professional grading services, are the stars of the collecting world. For the 2016 D nickel, examples graded in top-tier mint state levels, especially with full detail and exceptional luster, have drawn serious attention. As words spread within collecting communities about the standout examples of the 2016 D 5-cent coin, demand began to grow. Online forums buzzed with discussions. Auction listings drew attention. Grading reports were scrutinized. Every new high-grade specimen added fuel to the fire, reinforcing the idea that this was not just another modern nickel. It was a coin worth searching for, worth preserving, worth talking about. Imagine the thrill of discovering one. Perhaps someone decided to sort through a roll of nickels from the bank, expecting nothing more than a quiet evening activity. As they examined each coin, one stood out, its surfaces unusually sharp, its luster almost glowing under the light. The D mint mark confirmed its origin, and the date 2016 placed it firmly in this intriguing category. After careful handling and professional grading, that simple coin transformed into something extraordinary. What truly captivates audiences, though, is the payoff. After all the history, the design details, the minting process, and the collector buzz, there's the moment everyone waits for, the value. This is where the story reaches its climax. Because despite its humble face value of 5 cents, despite the millions that were produced, a top-quality 2016 United States 5-cent coin with the D mint mark has achieved a market value that turns heads. Right now, in the collector market, this coin has reached an impressive value of $157. Let that sink in for a moment. A coin worth 5 cents, potentially pulled from circulation or saved by chance, transformed into a piece worth $157. It's a reminder that knowledge, attention to detail, and a bit of curiosity can reveal hidden gems in the most ordinary places. So the next time you receive change, pause before you toss those coins aside. Look closely. Listen to the stories they might tell. Because as the 2016 D 5-cent coin proves, even the smallest pieces of metal can carry history, artistry, and surprising value, waiting patiently for someone to notice.